This may be the world's most significant and well-known piece of paranormal history. Matt Rife and Elton Castile purchased one of America's most haunted houses based on that conviction. Eager to learn the purchase's secrets, they tackled it with enthusiasm. However, when they walked in, a mysterious voice behind them made the room shudder. Or was it something more darker than the Annabelle doll? Your spine will tingle at the truth hidden in that spooky house. The renowned Ed and Lorraine Warren House and Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut were taken over by comedian Matt Rife and YouTuber Elton Castile in August 2025, shocking fans and paranormal aficionados. $1 million was the purchasing price. What came with it, however, was worth much more than money. The Warren residence had been the focus of investigations, ghost stories, and some of the most terrifying instances in American paranormal history for many years. Rife wrote, "I have officially purchased Ed and Lorraine Warren's home and occult museum to inform his millions of followers of the news." He also disclosed a duty that was included in the agreement. The entire haunted collection, including the Annabelle doll, will be under my legal guardianship for at least the next 5 years. Rife talked about how much the purchase meant to him in a TikTok video. Perhaps the most significant and well-known piece of paranormal history in the entire world is this one. He made apparent that this was a personal choice rather than merely a business one when he added, "I know a lot of you guys don't know what any of this means whatsoever, but if you follow ghost stuff, this is as big as it gets." The same enthusiasm was expressed by Elton Castile, who is well known for his YouTube investigations and exploits. The legal side of the transaction added another layer to the story. He commented under Rife's announcement saying, "I'm still in shock that we're the new owners. I'm sitting on their porch now, looking at all the photos of them at this house. We're going to make this the best paranormal investigation location on the planet." The purchase was completed through Haunted Homes LLC, with Cassie listed as a manager. The Warren property is the most significant and well-known piece of paranormal history in the world, according to Matt Rife, who has always talked about his fascination with the paranormal and frequently mentions his love of ghost stories and horror history. He clarified on social media that although they had purchased the house and land, the haunted collection was only entrusted to them. But what actually happens when you inherit a haunted legacy? Let me tell you horrifying details about their first visit to the Warren house, where their initial excitement was quickly replaced by a terrifying realization that they might not be alone. Once inside, they saw the Annabelle doll, the focal point of the Warren collection. Over the years, visitors have blamed the doll for accidents, injuries, and overwhelming feelings of dread. Some have even claimed that just being in the same room as Annabelle left them shaken for days. At first glance, it appears to be a Raggedy Ann toy, but the stories surrounding it make it one of the most feared objects in the paranormal world. Even now, people react strongly to the doll's presence. Many visitors refuse to look at it directly, while others mutter prayers under their breath. Ed and Lorraine Warren warned for decades that the doll was not to be underestimated, and Matt Rife and Elton Castile knew that the doll would be the biggest challenge when they entered that house. The house and museum carry more than one legend, and Rife acknowledged that he feels the weight of being close to it. Before it was even reopened, investigators were unnerved by stories of objects moving on their own, whispered voices in empty rooms, and sudden cold spots. Rife has stated that he feels the weight of history pressing down on him as he walks through the rooms, as if the supernatural lingers in the air. The museum was recently linked to tragedy during the Devils on the Run tour, which was conducted by paranormal investigator Dan Rivera. Rivera was discovered dead in his hotel room on July 13th while traveling across the nation with the New England Society for Psychic Study to display Annabelle. The coincidence only added to the unease surrounding the collection, as state police reported that nothing unusual or suspicious was found, and that the doll was not with him at the time. Rife and Casty's first tour of the property was unforgettable, describing peeling paint, creaking wood beneath their feet, and air so heavy with dust that it was difficult to breathe. The famous items were inside, including a self-playing organ, pieces from Eastern Airlines Flight 401, and countless other relics with sinister pasts. Some who have entered said they heard whispers or felt sudden chills, and cobwebs hung in corners and dim light flickered across rows of glass cases. Aside from the Annabelle doll, the house hides different cursed collections. Let's take you deeper into the haunted artifacts, each with its own terrifying story. Even the building itself seemed to carry an ominous weight, with groaning timbers and cold spots that felt unnatural. One caretaker reported seeing shadows cross a hallway when no one else was present. We are the legal guardians and caretakers of all 750 haunted artifacts and items in the Warren Museum, including the Annabelle doll, Matt Rife said, describing the scope of the task he and Elton Casty have taken on. Beyond Annabelle, the Warren Occult Museum is filled with hundreds of items connected to spooky tales, totaling over 750 pieces, each with its own eerie past. For him, the opportunity to preserve such a legacy is more than just ownership. We don't legally own the items, but we are legal guardians and caretakers of the items for at least the next 5 years. Glass cases inside the darkened rooms house items that investigators say have been cursed or drawn spirits, including a self-playing organ that has been known to emit faint, unsettling notes when no one is around. The museum displays pieces of Eastern Airlines Flight 401, a plane that crashed in the Florida Everglades in 1972, and survivors later report seeing the ghosts of the dead on board other planes that reused parts from the wreckage. Visitors describe the sound as soft and distant, as if someone invisible was testing the keys. Other cases contain ritual masks, voodoo dolls, and items taken from exorcisms. One glass cabinet is filled with small statues collected from cases in Africa and South America, some of which are thought to have been used in ceremonies to summon spirits. These fragments now sit quietly behind glass, though their caretakers insist the space around them feels colder than the rest of the room. Another area of the museum features cursed paintings and mirrors with stories of families who said the artifacts brought years of misfortune until they were turned over to the Warren. The stories are not just about what the artifacts might do, but also about how people respond to them. Former staff members claimed they heard faint whispers near the case, even when the building was empty. The collection has been closed to the public since 2019 due to zoning laws that prohibited the house from functioning as a museum. Numerous visitors reported experiencing headaches, sudden nausea, or a heavy feeling in their chest when standing too close to certain objects. One investigator claimed that after touching a mask, he had terrible nightmares for weeks. Co-directors of the New England Society for Psychic Research, which was established by Ed and Lorraine in 1952, Tony and Judy Spar, the Warrens' daughter and son-in-law, still hold ownership of the artifacts, which have been hidden from view for years, their stories preserved only by the Warrens' records and the recollections of those who ventured to walk among them. Tony Spar, who is also the collection's curator, confirmed in a statement to Today that Rife and Cast are leasing the artifacts for a period of 5 years, and that there are no plans to ever sell them. He also mentioned that the museum will eventually open off-site from the house itself. The real question is how people reacted to two entertainers owning one of the most haunted collections in the world. Actors, demonologists, and reporters have responded to Matt Rife and Jake Cast's purchase of the Warrens' haunted property in a variety of ways. with some being excited, others cautious, and still others deeply concerned about the risks of owning such a collection. In the Conjuring movies, Vera Farmiga played Lorraine Warren, and she was curious about what would happen to the house. She even joked that she hoped Rife didn't have a garage sale. Her co-star Patrick Wilson, who played Ed Warren, concentrated on the practical implications. The response from experts has been more somber, with Chris DeFlorio, a demonologist and retired New York Police Department officer, issuing a public warning. He explained that he could not imagine neighbors wanting lines of cars paying money to enter the house. Both actors reminded fans that the property is not just a movie set, but a real place tied to unsettling stories. "I know there's an appeal to it," he remarked. "It's fascinating." Though he emphasized that he thinks it is inviting evil in, there is undoubtedly a certain interest that I do understand. Dario cautioned against treating haunted things as carnival entertainment, explaining that in his job he had witnessed the perils of spiritual powers that many people disregarded too soon. Dario and his wife Harmony are New York demonic investigators, referring to themselves as spiritual first responders, and they have worked in Long Island, New York City, Texas, Mississippi, and Connecticut, among other places. Dario detailed some of these experiences in his 2024 book, called Into Darkness: Two NYC First Responders Battle the Supernatural. His experience, he says, proves that objects linked to demonic spirits should not be handled lightly. While experts like DeFlorio raise alarms, celebrity reporters are following the story from a different perspective. He was also featured in the 2023 documentary It's Coming, which followed a Brooklyn family as they faced what they believed to be terrifying forces in their home. As part of her beat on celebrity real estate, Kelsey Cooley, a senior writer for Realtor.com, has been covering the deal. With a background in journalism, having worked for publications such as the Daily Mail and J Media Corporation, she sees the haunted purchase as part of a broader trend in which celebrities purchase unusual, historically significant homes that pique the interest of the public. Though Matt Rife and Elton cast have big plans for the Warren House and Museum, only time will tell if the preservation of this haunted history will come at a cost, both financially and spiritually, as the debate continues to gain momentum. Rife explained the reason for the reopening, saying, "We plan to open the house for overnight stays and museum tours so you yourself can experience and learn all the haunted history surrounding this amazing place. Beginning November, 2025 guests will be able to book rooms for up to 8 people per night, and only those who are 18 and older can participate. Bookings are scheduled to open on September 5th. This won't be your typical overnight experience. Protective supplies like prayer cards and holy water will be available to ensure the safety of the visitors. Before entering, all guests must sign a liability release that covers both spiritual and bodily risks. In order to maintain safety, the museum area will only be accessible during certain evening hours, but visitors will still be able to see the items up close. These steps are intended to honor the property's eerie history while providing a controlled environment for visitors to experience it. Rife and Casti are contemplating a separate commercial museum site in addition to the house itself. The house will continue to serve as the focal point of the original paranormal collection, and the new site is anticipated to open by May of the following year. Without interfering with the private land, the off-site museum will enable even more people to examine the artifacts and their histories. The plans exhibit a harmony between prudence and curiosity. The history of the house is not going to be buried as tours and overnight stays bring the treasures to life. Visitors could encounter far darker than anticipated situations firsthand, pushing the boundaries of their faith and bravery. Before the property can formally open, a number of problems still need to be resolved, despite their excitement and ambitious plans for the future. Zoning is one of the main obstacles Matt Rife and Elton Casti must overcome in order to reopen the Warren House and Museum. Since the land is categorized as residential, the town's Planning and Zoning Commission must approve its use as a public museum. They are unable to offer overnight stays or full public tours until that approval is given. They have to submit comprehensive plans outlining how they will control crowds, maintain safety, and adhere to all local laws in order to proceed. Even little errors could cause their plans to be delayed, and this process can take a long time. Concerns have also been raised by nearby neighbors. Increased traffic, safety, and possible disturbances in a peaceful residential area are among the many concerns. In response to the problem, Patrick Wilson, who played Ed Warren in the Conjuring movies, stated that he could not fathom lines of automobiles paying to enter the house. His comments reveal a genuine tension. While locals face very serious repercussions, fans are excited to see a piece of spooky history. Convenience is not the only issue. There are also worries about how tourists who might not comprehend the seriousness of a haunted property could impact neighborhood life. In addition to these neighborhood and zoning issues, Rife and Casti have a guardianship arrangement that they must adhere to. For 5 years, they are in charge of maintaining and safeguarding every artifact in the Warren Museum. Nevertheless, Tony and Judy Spar retain ownership. They must make sure the collection is kept in the same condition intended, and they are not allowed to sell, transfer, or claim any of the artifacts. This legal structure restricts the caretaker's flexibility and increases pressure as they prepare for public access, even as it safeguards the object's historic and paranormal significance. Every law, neighbor's complaint, and safety rule has significance. Serious legal and public impression repercussions could result from a single minor mistake. It's not easy to strike a balance between the excitement of opening one of the most notorious haunted homes in the world and the obligations of safety, supervision, and zoning compliance. Every step toward opening the land has the danger of unforeseen obstacles, so Rife and Cast must constantly temper their joy with care. Now, let's examine what it's really like to live on a property that has such a rich history and what happens when the past won't go away. It is impossible to overlook the impact the Warren has on paranormal culture. Their research, publications, and museum contributed to the popularization of ghost stories and demonology. According to Matt Rife, who acknowledged their impact, they may have popularized demonology and the paranormal. The challenge for him and Elton Casti is whether they can respectfully continue this legacy or if it will just be turned into a show for the sake of amusement. They have a lot of responsibility because they are not only the owners of a home or collection, they are assuming cultural significance that has been there for decades. The possible risks are numerous and genuine. The house is physically ancient, with peeling paint, groaning floors, and brittle structures that could be dangerous. The question lingers spiritually. But what if the tales are real? What if the black energy that the Warren claim to have felt is present in some artifacts? The risk to one's reputation is another. Critics are already concerned that transforming the house into a tourist destination can be interpreted as taking advantage of tragedy or wickedness for financial gain. Rife has stated that he wishes to respect the past, but he will always have to contend with popular opinion. Not every collection story has complete documentation. Many claims cannot be confirmed, and the history of some objects is unclear. Caretakers may have to deal with additional strange incidents while they are watching, and visitors will demand proof. Their roles are obvious to Rife and Cast. They consider themselves to be stewards, protectors, and possibly keepers of folklore. They want guests to leave with a feeling of wonder, history, and reverence for the paranormal. They have to face a challenging reality at the same time. They might be sustaining terror itself by keeping the past haunted. Every choice they make has implications for their culture, beliefs, and safety. Furthermore, it is still unclear if they are prepared for the repercussions of entering a heritage that has never been completely subdued. Would you dare to visit the Warren House and Museum if it were available to the public? Leave a comment below with your opinion.